And we're in our favorite. Life is so sweet. We're in our favorite parking place. Well, live. And we're live.
God. You can't believe what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
We were. Is that my head? I'm not on there.
Oh,
You want me in there?
Yeah.
We're talking. Lots drove up this. Oh, we're so lucky. Both stores, we get our favorite parking place. I said, oh, that's not what we're lucky about. We're lucky that we care about.
We get such thrills.
We care about that we get our parking place.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. Here, I'm going to
it's
turn.
It's not freezing. It also helps.
I'm going to turn the camera around. There we go.
Not me, is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, because you're so pretty. Happy anniversary, dear.
That was... He's trying to make this last longer.
Happy anniversary.
That's over.
50. We're now on our 59th year.
Oh, God. Yes, something. Oh, we had a nice anniversary.
Yes, we did.
We did not go out or anything, but I took some lovely spaghetti sauce that I say I make. I mean, I take mushrooms, onions, garlic, herbs from the bat in pots, and olive oil and peppercino and carrot, and probably and some pepper, some green chili of some kind, usually, and if I want anything else, other vegetables too, but and tons of mushrooms, and
charred.
No, just don't ruin it.
Okay.
And saute it in olive oil and probably something else I've forgotten. And then I add so it's hardly homemade. I mean, I add canned, chopped or whole tomatoes I cut up, and a can of good tomato paste, and a little bit of honey, and a jar of whatever organic already pasta sauce to thin it out. To it, like Sprouts has a good organic portobello mushroom sauce. It costs like anywhere from $3.50 to $4.50 whenever it's sometimes on sale. It's cheaper even, and it's really good. So you throw that in, but the secret is red wine.
God, that's the best red sauce.
And yeah, you don't have to cook it very long after that.
Oh, God.
You have to saute the veggies and stuff first, and then you add the tomatoes and red wine. The red wine, and then you add the tomato stuff.
It's like everything you would dream about in an Italian restaurant and never got.
And Italian parsley too, and lots of garlic. But anyway, but I used to buy this red wine at Trader Joe's that was sweet, German sweet red wine, and I liked it because it was we don't drink wine, but I just would make the spaghetti sauce good. But they don't do that anymore, so I bought some Primitivo, $5 a bottle, Italian. I think it's
good.
Zinfandel or some kind, and it's oh my God, it's so adult good. Anyway, so we had that. I had some in the freezer, and the usual feta and just plain Parmesan Romano topping, and extra drizzle of California olive oil because I'm sorry, but it's the best. And but I didn't put it on spaghetti.
No, didn't put it on pasta.
No, I didn't. We didn't sit like Lady and the Tramp and eat our spaghetti. No, we didn't do that. I made polenta, which takes 20 minutes to a half hour. So I made really lovely.
You stood there and stirred
and stirred polenta
stirred
for a long time. Yes. So we had that, and then we had just steamed zucchini. I think that was it. And so we were we just watched something wonderful on the computer. I don't even remember what it was, but it was just the usual something. It was just nice and peaceful and cozy and good food, and it was nice. So we didn't go out and be cold and uncomfortable and have to pay a fortune. So we had a nice anniversary, and thank you to everyone for their well wishes.
We got a lot of very sweet wishes.
Well We need compliments on this. Because I'm sure every day we think, God. Well, and that's another thing. People have fantasies about what it's like to be married 58 years. Well, we don't even know why we got married. The flying saucer people made us do it, and this is like we joke about it, but it's pretty much just like one of those Indian, East Indian arranged marriages by some kind of an astrologer.
Yeah, except we arranged it ourselves.
Yeah,
That's
sort of. We sort of
arbitrary.
We could not. Neither one of us had a choice. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Don't know why. So if you have a fantasy about, great romance of the ages last 58 years, just give that up.
Here, I'll get my reaction. What?
No, leave your face on that.
Okay, now you're on.
No, I just was.
Oh,
to you.
I'm on.
I don't need to be on the whole time. I'll talk about something a little later.
Okay.
We had a nice class last night of about 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, it was a small
people.
class, but just enough. We had just enough officers for a read through of the Rite of Saturn. And I've been going on a crazy Saturn thing with this white hole, black hole thing, and I'm still having fun with it.
He's making diagrams, cartoons.
Yeah.
Talking about it all the time. Yes, we are.
And the tarot tells it all. Yeah.
And yes, even though we have a mundane life, I don't think Lon does. He does not have a mundane life. I mean, he's not doing any housework or anything like that.
No, I'm
No. No. So even though when I'm cutting the bad part off of a potato or weeding something or bringing laundry in or complaining about some mosquito bites or my knee hurts or something.
Well,
we still are talking and thinking about the oddest things.
What are you, dear?
Oh, that's what he's going to ask. What was I going to talk about today? He's trying to cut to the chase.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, I've been.
This is a perfect segue. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Anyway, it's the perfect segue. It's always the perfect. I was every week after I speak to you, I think, oh God, did I actually say that? Because it doesn't come out like I want it to anyway. But I was reading a book that said, question, ask a question, and you'll get an answer. What am I? And well, that can go on quite, and that's more than you think. Because you'll say, well, I'm not these clothes or my car. You kind of get over that when you're in your 20s. Although we do love our car.
We love our car. We got sideswiped the other day.
Yeah, we already talked about that. Oh, we love our car level, and I like my red beret. But no, you're not that, and you're not the flesh, and you're not the bones, and you can have this meditation. If not that, and then, well, am I my mind? Well, my mind is God's mind, and God's mind is my mind. But my brain, my meat brain is definitely not really. And my senses, well, God, they're all faulty. I'm not that either. And in my tendencies, or that's getting close. And consciousness, or I am a spiritual being having a physical experience, not a physical being having a spiritual. That's all fine. So what is spirit? What is soul? You can't really hang your hat on that. So just keep going. What am I? What am I? What am I? And I have a hard time figuring out because I think it would be helpful. I understand when people do hypnotic regression when they go back to their birth, if that's possible. Who knows? But anyway, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, or be better than that. Can you go back to conception? But I can't do that for myself. So I figured, well, I do can do it for Jean-Paul, our son. I mean, I can. So that would be, since
Yeah.
we're all human together. Whatever I could figure out for him might be same for me. So I remember, shall I say, seeding in conception. I was praying because I'm that kind of person, and I wanted the baby, and I wanted him to be born on a certain day. So it just had to happen that day. So, of course, I was only off by 6 hours, but that's another story.
And it's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, just from my point of view.
Anyway, and who knew that? He didn't know I was praying. So, anyway, I'm kind of getting, okay, I'm thinking. It's kind of like a lima bean seed or other seeds. You go back and you find in the middle of the seed, there's like a hole, an empty space.
There's a nothing there.
There's nothing there. Oh, okay, that's very helpful too. So, what am I? What am I? And who am I? It's kind of the same thing. What am I? And I'm thinking, what was Jean-Paul? I remember all that, the beginning and as it progressed, and I thought maybe I'm a prayer and an answer to the prayer in one unit. Maybe I'm a problem and the solution to the problem in one unit. I have other examples, but a question and an answer to the question in one unit. And that's more to think about than, and because it's one unit, once it materializes, and as Lon calls it, your meat brain gets a hold of you, and the whole body evolves into having a body and a brain. Your meat brain notices, and not immediately when you're born either, I don't think, because I don't think babies still think they're part of mom until they get. That's when they said the first time a child says no or something, they get their own. And, oh, cool! He's developed his own ego.
Well, there he goes.
Well, and Jean-Paul on his 3rd birthday, I think he's the first time he ever said
He said no.
He didn't want.
We went.
I did because he was at a neighbor's house playing, and it's time to go back now, go home, and no. Of course, I picked him up and carried him home, but never mind. And he didn't throw a terrible fit or anything, but he did say no.
And he turned out okay.
He turned out okay. But but anyway, so once your meat brain gets a hold of it, you start feeling. You notice that there's other people over there, and there's things over there that don't seem to be a part of me anymore.
Yeah.
And
there's
your meat brain is your ego, and it separates.
Yeah.
It divides. And it wants to conquer. Believe me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't have any. It's not really. People think, oh, that's so healthy. No, that's not. Healthy is not that. It's total. It makes you a slave to your imperfections and your delusions. So the separate. So the part is you have to remember that all the things that you think are separate from you are not. And I actually had my cup of coffee at 5 o'clock yesterday. Was really wrong, but I was very busy, and I still had the living room to clean, so I vacuumed and dusted it a little bit, and it wasn't very filthy. And then I got out the dust mop because we have partial wood. We have wood floors covering part of it, and I enjoy dust mopping immensely. And so I was thinking, with my half a cup of coffee in me, after about 2 hours, I still am incredibly spaced out, that I was the mop. Because I was asking myself this question since yesterday. What am I? I'm the mop. And I'm the dust that I'm sweeping. Yes. And I'm the floor. I mean, you know how you know how this can go. Anyway,
Are you the intent to
Oh yeah, well,
to
to have the shiny
cleanse the world?
Yeah, well, I'm just I intend not to cleanse the world, but to it starts going. You start uniting with everything in the room, and then everything in the town, and then the world. I mean, it goes really fast from 0 to a bazillion. Especially if you've had half a cup of coffee.
It's dangerous. Yes.
I don't have that in the morning.
Yeah.
This is how I am in the morning. Anyway.
Coffee, afternoon coffee hour. I go hide in the living room. Yeah.
Anyway.
That's when I get some work done.
So, there was still another part. I thought of this and the rest of this morning at the co-op, and now I can't think of it.
Do you want some coffee here? I got you.
No, I don't want your cold dregs of your cold coffee.
Oh.
But no, so don't. I think it's just a plain good question.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer, however you want to describe it, but I totally recommend that you ask yourself, and not just once. Give yourself a week of constant questioning. Because the answer pops up. And I mean, did I think I was going to say I was a prayer, an answer to a prayer? No. I didn't think I was a solution, a problem and the answer to the solution, a question and the answer to the question. Did I think ahead of time? Did I plot that out from what I've learned? No. The answer comes to you. When you sincerely ask questions, the answer will come to you. So sincerely ask the question, because I think it's helpful in every aspect of your life. It's going to be helpful to figure out what you are, because when you figure out you are, it might make you less afraid of things and feel more confident too, more powerful. You know, I mean, me, so I don't, feel powerless all the time. I'm helpless. I'm so helpless. I can't hammer a nail, me either.
Yeah, you sure
It's
can.
one of my favorite things to do. I just don't get a chance to do it. Anyway.
Well, wise words. Like Rabbi Ben Clifford says, the question's more important than the answer, and usually you find out that the question is the answer, and not only that, but
I think they're just not separate.
you're the oracle, because it can't be any other way.
The big thing to me is that they're not separate. They're totally connected.
They're totally connected. They're the same thing. They're not even a thing.
No.
It's a
unit.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in the Kabbalistic story of Genesis. It's on me now. Kabbalistic story of Genesis. Supposedly Adam was created with in pure innocence. Okay, he was, I'm walking around the garden,
I'm
but
God, walking around the garden.
But one of the first things that God wanted him to do was name everything.
Which separated it from him.
Instantly, oh, that's a tree. He's instantly saying, that's a tree and it's not me.
Right.
That's an aardvark. And that's an aardvark and that's not me. He goes around naming everything. And in the I Ching, it starts off right away that the difference between the mother of the myriad creatures, right. Okay, the named. And so that's, well, anyway, that's the first thing that separates you.
The myriad creatures means it's not one creature.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all you have to do is remember what you are, and it sucks it all back into
that
one
would be
thing.
Which brings us back to the white hole, black hole.
I'm leaving now. Well, I'm going to say something too, and not going to let
okay, well, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is law, love under will.
Okay, I'm going to set myself up over here. Talk amongst yourselves. Well,
and I wanted to thank everybody for supporting us for buying food when so many people are hungry right now. I'm leaving.
Okay.
Around me.
Okay. Yes, thank you for everybody's.
We're watching people be hungry, and I on TV. And to tell you the truth, I truly have never forgotten. There were years when I would dream of buffets with mashed potatoes. So I appreciate everything. So.
Okay, darling.
Well, I was going to speak in another language now.
While we were sitting in that other parking lot, I was going through the little book of ordinary oracles and just reading the thumbnail things, and they were, and it was the voice of God, one little thing after another, and I had to put it away. I had to put it away because it was getting too.
Let it get to.
Yeah.
That's what I said here.
Well, anyway.
Don't fix that. Oh, fix that hole in your roof that keeps the rain keeps your mind from wandering.
Ah.
Fixing a hole
where the rain comes in, keeps my mind from wandering. Where it will go. Oh, we quote the Beatles like the Bible. Goo, 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 Jew.
Although, yeah, but the line before that is, I am he as you are me, and we are all together. That's what Jesus says.
Yes.
I gotta get out
and
of
Judas went, goo, 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 Jew.
I gotta get out of here. This is getting too dangerous.
Okay.
I'm even scaring myself.
Today is November 11th, 11/11. And on 11/11/1911, my father was born. And I talk about my father briefly because my father was a very modest guy. And in the years that I knew him, he died when he was like 61. The years that I knew him, and to me, he was one of the most, and remains one of the most noble characters I've ever encountered. But he was a human being. And in the book Low Magic, I've got a short little chapter called Family Secrets. And I talk first about my mother and kind of her background. And then I say a few words about my father. And this is only in sort of their capacity of what went into making me a magician and making me who I am, and hopefully something that everybody can relate to. But I guess for the last probably 5-6 years, I went ahead and joined the Ancestry, ancestry.com, whatever it is, okay. And not only that, but Constance and I both submitted, we spit into a test tube and got our DNA or our genetic information too. And it's all sort of on one website. And so I've been exploring, especially, as our grandson is getting older. He's going to college now and everything. And I thought it'd be nice to have at least a brief outline our ancestry. And it's been very interesting. And a few things that my father didn't talk about his family very much at all. And I've been discovering that a few things that he said, either he didn't know himself, or he, for one reason or another, chose to mislead my brother and I into thinking something else about his family. Hence the chapter, Family Secrets. And I think everybody's like that, especially we boomers, if you want to call us that. Our parents and grandparents were of generations that just kept shit secret, okay? They didn't want to talk about their parents. They didn't want to talk about their great-grandparents as if there was something to be ashamed of, and they wanted their kids to start fresh and start anew and not bring the baggage that their ancestors brought from the old country. So I just want to start a little something from the book to start what I was going to really talk about. This is following up on me talking about my mother and what kind of a chaotic magician she was. Not technically that. She was a magician, all right. My father was a different kind of magician altogether. He was quiet and moody. He was a Scorpio, given to bouts of depression. He liked to drink during the years before I was born, but Mom's willingness to drive to his favorite after-work watering hole and physically pull him off his bar stool and out to the car, and that put an end to that. He stopped drinking, and he didn't drink in the years that I knew him. To my knowledge, he never met any of his grandparents. Now, I've been finding out that his father's father and mother had 11 kids. So my grandfather, DuQuette, was one of 11. And I've been able to follow everybody's thing back many generations. His father came from France, and that's just exactly what my father always told my brother and I. And I don't think that he was lying, and he may have been telling a half-truth, because I've later found out that his father was born in Canada, in Quebec. But for one reason or another, before he immigrated, he didn't immigrate from Canada. He did immigrate from France, as if for one reason or another, he found it easier or more legal or less visible to be coming in from France. I don't know. The guy was wild, okay? My grandfather was wild. My father said, he spoke 11 languages, but fluently he spoke 8, and said he never dreamed in the same language 2 nights in a row. And he was moody. He was a barber. And because he could speak all of these languages, the barber shop he worked at, he put a sign up that says, Portuguese, English, German, Czech, spoken here, Italian, spoken here. And there were so many immigrants in those years, the early 1900s, that his barbershop was just packed. Okay, so he was a successful barber, but and my dad said he was an insatiable reader, and had more or less read anything that was good to read in the Great Long Beach Public Library, and he found it hard to find new books to read. And he was moody. He was terribly moody, and I guess he met my grandmother, and this is where I think the France story is real. He met her on the boat, and she was a widow with 2 daughters or 3 daughters, and they found it easier if they were man and wife to get into the country and move to the West Coast. So, but anyway, his father came from France and his mother from England. Now, this is really true because I found out a lot about her. She'd been married once before and had 3 girls from that union. Her father, and this is what my father said at the time, was an inspector for Scotland Yard. He was not an inspector for Scotland Yard, but he was England's most famous private detective, Clifford Catton Harland, who was responsible for literally the rescue of hundreds and hundreds of white slave girls. There's all sorts of magazine articles about him, and he had a large private detective agency. We're talking in the late 1800s. We're talking Sherlock Holmes times. Okay. The only thing we know about his wife, my grandmother, my great-grandmother on my father's side, Clifford Harland's wife, was a story my mother told me just before she died. My mother died. I find it somewhat unnerving. Something my mother didn't tell me until a week or so before she died in 2007. I was almost 60 years old when I heard this story. My father was born and raised in Los Angeles, but had traveled to western Nebraska in the late 1930s to drill exploratory oil wells. He met my mother-to-be, a waitress at a diner, and they married in the little town of Chapel, Nebraska in 1940. When the newlyweds returned home to California, my father was stunned to discover that while he was away, his father died and was already buried. And his mother lay dying in the hospital. When they visited the poor woman, she asked to talk alone with her new daughter-in-law, my mother-to-be. She asked my mother-to-be if she planned to have children. When Mom answered in the affirmative, the old woman pleaded with her, "Don't have his children. We are cursed. There is evil in our blood." She then tearfully confessed that her own mother, this is the private detective's wife, was a, quote, witch. Now, in those days, witch wasn't a nature-loving, tree-hugging pagan. Okay, a witch was a terribly mentally sick, vindictive, vicious, hateful individual. Okay, that kind of witch. Okay, use of the word, but it didn't mean wise woman. It meant an asshole. Okay. It referred to someone who delighted in doing evil things for evil's sake. She went on to relate how her mother fed on the hate and fear and the misery of others. How she would sit on the steps of her London flat, I know the address too, and curse passers-by, especially pregnant women, then later delighted in reports of their miscarriages and deaths during childbirth. She poisoned dogs and cats. She spread vile rumors about neighbors and relatives for no other purpose than that of ruining lives. Now, this is my grandmother DuQuette's description of her mother. In all fairness, I don't know if this was true. This was her perception of her own mother, okay? And my mother's retelling of the story. It's not to say that all of these people were just perfectly lovely people, but this was the story, okay? None of my father's 4 sisters had any children, perhaps to ward off tales of evil blood. Okay. Oh, so hated and feared was my great-grandmother in the neighborhood that no child was allowed to play with her children, if not for the fact that her husband was a policeman, or literally England's most famous and respected private investigator. The family would have been run out of the neighborhood. And when I asked my mother if Grandma DuQuette's warning hadn't scared her, she coldly answered, "No, where would you and Mark be if I had listened? I wasn't going to let that old witch tell me what to do." So anyway, the point I'm trying to make, okay, is we are so almost 99% in the dark of our own genetic makeup, our own family, where we stand in a genetic chain, because we carry all of them with us. Constance said, you know, what am I? Well, starting with our meat brains and our meat nervous systems and our bodies, we are all of our ancestors. Is it any wonder, with the fragility of time, that we aren't all in some way our own ancestors, reaching all the way back? Now, I'm sure I've traced both sides of my family on this ancestry.com thing. In some cases, going back to the 1300s. There may be somebody a little bit past that, but I stopped finding parents and things like that, and especially on my mother's side, going back into the Germanic people, the Germans. I spotted a couple of historical characters that sort of pop up in esoteric literature and stuff, but nothing. I'm not related to John Dee or Aleister Crowley or Cagliostro. Not that I know of, okay? But, and I'm not trying to be an ad for Ancestry.com. But sometimes, just before I fall asleep, and instead of getting out my little computer or my phone, which Constance hates for me to do, before I fall asleep, I'll go to ancestry.com, and I will at least look at the names of generation back generations, and the names of the parents, and where they lived. And I like to pronounce their names as best I can. The French ones are wild. And this sounds funny, but I treat them as if they are alive right now. And I thank them. And I acknowledge their existence. Not as if they're in the past, but that they're in me. And it's somehow comforting, because it's only in this one little narrow band of dimension that they are in the past. And in the bigger picture, we're all together. And if that's true for the genetic makeup that goes into making my meat brain and my meat body, it's also true with the sheaths that temporarily isolate our individual monads of existence. We're all each other. And we all carry the same blessings, which are the same curses of all life. Anyway, that's it for my father's birthday. He died too young. And he would just, he wasn't very politically involved at all. He more or less knew what he could have control over and what he couldn't. In exploring his past, I found out that he was married twice before. Okay, and I know their names. I've got pictures of them and everything else. He never mentioned any. I don't even think he mentioned it to my mom. But they're lovely Southern California women that he probably went to school with, at least one of them. They had no children together. Okay, they would later go on and remarry and have families. But if I can be so in the dark about my own father's life and adventures, can you imagine how in the dark we are with all these other genetic stories running around in our bloodstream? Anyway, that's my thoughts on 11/11, and I enjoy sharing that little family thing to you. On my mother's side, I wrote a song about her great-grandfather, who was a Wild West show performer. And the song's called Roman Rider. If you haven't heard Roman Rider, take a listen, because that is a colorized version of my own family's background on my mother's side. Anyway, Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.